Pick up your clapping hands and pay attention. From the Middle East to the open nations, we coming straight to your ear, no complications. As yalla yalla, come on, give me some up. Go!
My name's Avi Toronto and I'm originally from New York City. I've been living in Israel since February 2009, at which time I made Aliyah. Previously I went to culinary school in France, and I am a master's student and work here as a private chef, and I chose my apartment based on its proximity to the Shuk. One of the things that I think is truly wonderful about the Shuk is that it reminds us of how food shopping used to be. The Shuk reminds you that you're in the Middle East. The best part of the Shuk, in my opinion, is the variety and the freshness. With the exception of a few commodities, you know that the fruit is local, that it's fresh, and that it's in season when you're buying it. Someone coming to the Shuk for the very first time could easily be overwhelmed. And if not overwhelmed, then easily ripped off. Everything is negotiable. Sometimes you don't win the negotiation. Sometimes they take the food out of your hand and say, I don't want your money. You'll find a lot of interesting characters, undoubtedly.
Don't expect the colors that you're used to from home, because you can easily get yellow limes and green lemons.
These are limes, these are lemons. When you're shopping for citrus in Israel, you should always scratch the skin a little bit and smell it to get a better idea of what you're buying. You could easily be told that you're being sold limes and you're actually getting lemons. As we've just demonstrated with the lemons and the limes, often fruit can be a different color than you expect in this country, and nothing proves this point better than the fact that the clementines have green skin. And if we look over here, this man has broken one up into taste so that you can see the contents of the inside. But the peel is clearly very green, and the interior is orange in color. Here we can see employed a rather typical Shuk trick, which is that the tomatoes are left directly underneath a red or burgundy awning to hide the fact that they are not quite as red as the customer first sees. These are being advertised as matok matok, sweet sweet. His tomatoes actually look beautiful right now, but of course each box is a mix. You see red ones on top and you see green ones on the bottom that don't look so good. Half of shopping in the Shuk is a matter of experience, and you get to know which merchants are more honest and which are less honest. And it's a relatively typical experience. In Israel, they don't import their fruits and vegetables when they're out of season. Rather, they just pick them too early. So if you look now, the celery is quite small, but in fact, because it has lesser water content, the flavor is much more condensed. I cook with a tremendous amount of mint and cilantro because that's really very appropriate for the region and regional cooking. Starting from the right, we have mint, parsley, dill, cilantro, then chives, then something in Hebrew that's called shumit, in English it's called green garlic, and there's spinach, sage, oregano, thyme, and rosemary. At present, we are in the middle of pomegranate season, and a lot of juice stands are offering pomegranate juice. They don't really filter out the seeds, but that's fine, it's delicious. There's two traditions. I mean, like the whole tradition of fresh squeezed juice is much newer, so to speak, than the blended juice. Every place sells fresh squeezed orange juice or fresh squeezed grapefruit juice, and when it's in season, pomegranate as well. Started like 20 years ago that there were also smoothie places like in the States, but it's really caught on in the past 10 years. This is more traditional. And ginger is also a new addition. Israelis didn't used to be putting ginger in their juice.
The most overwhelming aspect of the Shuk, beyond how crowded it is and how loud it is that Americans are not prepared for the smell of meat. The meat is not well refrigerated, it's got flies on it, the guy's smoking a cigarette while he's cutting it. I mean, it's pretty gross. Other than that, you can expect very good produce and people who are going to try very hard to sell it to you. You have a bit of a farmer's market feel to it where it doesn't feel like it's coming out of some huge processing plant. And in the farmer's market, you have the farmers selling the food. These guys, they're not farmers. They're merchants. The merchants have a much greater connection to their food, whereas the guy working at the supermarket is probably some teenage kid or in his 20s who's just doing it for the money and doesn't really care much about the celery. If you talk to the people at the shuk, they know the history of their produce, they know where it came from, and they will tell you why theirs is better, and they can do so pretty articulately.
This is pretty much the end.
בהצלחה בקניות שלכם. Good luck with your purchases.
For everybody.
I love